Hi, everybody. So welcome to Professional Networking Now. We're going to jump right into the meeting. We're having a little small group with a snow day today. So welcome, everybody. And Christina, why don't you take over and talk to us about email lists?
All right, thank you. I'm Christina with Multimedia Content Solutions, and I thought about this topic because somebody that I know from doing a class together, she posted on, she posted on Facebook, a while back, about how she had spent about 10 years developing and growing her Instagram following. And all of a sudden it just went poof. For some unknown reason, her account was blocked. And the same thing did happen on Facebook. Everybody who was in the class with her, it was like through the grapevine. Oh my gosh, Haley's account got blocked. And she had done the same thing, because Instagram and Facebook are now practically one and the same. And both of her accounts were blocked. And this is somebody who has a six-figure business, has many thousands, I don't know the exact number of followers. And she has a team of support people, she's got almost my dream business of, having the people to go to without being all by yourself and wondering, oh my gosh, how do I fix this? She had people, and it still took quite a few weeks to get her accounts back and working. And I've been online since 2007. And the biggest bit of information that all of my mentors and other people who had been there before me had said was to pay attention to growing your list. And this is a prime example of why you need that list. And she did have a list as well. But, we all who think social media is the end all be all, and it is wonderful in many ways, but Facebook is already tweaking their algorithms all the time. So I know that's a huge frustration of mine. Like, I'm not seeing the people that I want to see. I'm seeing the people Facebook thinks I should see, so if they all of a sudden decide that I've done something wrong and my account gets shut down, if I don't have a way to reach those people, then you're kind of SOL. So growing your email list, I think this was just a reminder of how important it was. And there are multiple ways that you can do that. The easiest way is to create a lead magnet that you have on your website. And the lead magnet is a freebie, basically, that anybody who comes to your site will see it. You want to make it dynamic. You want to make it exciting. You want to have a great copywriting hook so that people will be like, oh yeah, I really need this in my life. And they'll give you their email address and it will be put on your list, because every time they volunteer their email address, they are granting permission for you to email them. So that's a sign that they want to hear what you have to say. And the lead magnet, it can be a written report, it can be an infographic, it can be a video, anything, really, any format that you feel will benefit and be of value to your subscribers is fair game. And the other thing is that you don't want to give away all of your top secrets in your lead magnet. Your lead magnet should be a very easy thing for you to punch out in a day, in a couple of hours, whatever. It really serves as a sampling of your knowledge. For instance, my lead magnet that I just put up was my video from here about what you don't have to be famous to be a podcaster, so with a little bit of editing, I was able to use that, and it's such a lifesaver, Megan, you have no idea. But if I had to go back and redo the voiceover, it would have taken me tons longer. So the lead magnet should just be quick and simple, an introduction to you, what you know, what you do, and how to contact you. And when I say email list, that really, this is not you go into your Gmail and you're sending out to 100 people on your contact list. This is, getting an email provider such as ConvertKit, Aweber, GetResponse, any of those are platforms that are built and are meant to house many thousands of names. I mean, if you really market your list, I know one of my clients has a list of 20,000, because she's got, valuable stuff for her subscribers. Gmail and or whatever Outlook, your regular email, you will get slammed if you try to email 20,000 people from your private account. So that's a huge no-no. You definitely need a separate specific email. I call it email provider. I'm not sure if there's another name for it. And any of these email providers will have a way for you to send out broadcasts, which is the same email goes to everybody on your list. Or you can set up autoresponders, which is really nice because when somebody signs up from, yes, MailChimp and Constant Contact are the email providers for that, yes. Autoresponders, when somebody signs up for your freebie, your lead magnet, they'll automatically get an intro. Oh, thanks so much for signing up. Here's the link to whatever it is you're giving away. And then you can set up a sequence really to introduce more about you, what you do, your services, hot tips, and those will go out automatically to anybody who signs up. And you can set how many days apart you want those messages to go out. It could be once a week to start. It could be every day. It's really your preference, and probably depending on what it is you're sharing in that sequence. And emailing, it's such an important habit to get into. I suggest scheduling time on your calendar to either punch out a bunch of them and get them scheduled, or at least to plan, a month's worth, 4 weeks worth of content ideas that you want to send, because countless times I have sat down either for clients or for myself and been like, what am I going to write about? What's relevant? And okay, this is my day I'm supposed to send out. What am I going to send out? So if you constantly have like a brainstorm list, or you set aside that time, okay, let's think about, March's, content, for instance, then that gives you a little bit of a cushion. You don't necessarily want to wait until March 1st to get all of these written and scheduled, but you can start thinking about your content. Are there any promotions that you want to tell them about? Are there any new products coming out? Do you have a new offer? Anything. The creative juices will start to flow. If on March 3rd, you're going to write about whatever the topic is, you'll have ideas for what you can promote. Because that's another big thing, you always want to have a call to action, whether that's to schedule a discovery call with you, or to go read your latest blog post, or to take a survey of what your struggles are right now. You want to get them used to clicking on a link very early on, because then it will become habit. They will be looking for that golden nugget as they get to know you. And if you provide value at whatever the link is, whether it's a paid, product, or just your latest blog post, whatever, that builds your credibility, and it instills, the trust that you're not going to lead them to some junky site or whatever. And really the biggest, like I said, the biggest reason to stay in contact is to keep your name front and center in their minds. Because even if they're not purchasing your product or your service right now, doesn't mean that they won't need you in the future. So, for instance, with Brenda, not everybody is ready to jump on a plane right now, but that doesn't mean 6 months from now they won't be ready to plan a family reunion or go on a honeymoon or whatever. And if Brenda's been, in contact with them over the months, they'll think, oh yeah, who was that travel agent, and can go search, and, they'll find you, because even if they don't remember your name, off the top of their head, they can search their emails and they'll see, all of the ones that she has sent. And then I know plenty of internet marketers whose list may not be huge, but they are very responsive. So they may make a nice chunk of change with affiliate marketing, which is recommending other people's products in exchange for getting a small commission. They can make a lot. So there's a difference between, yes, my one client has 20,000 subscribers, and that's a phenomenal number. But how many of those subscribers are really purchasing and being responsive? I don't have the answer to that. I have one of my mentors, she has a much smaller list, but she can depend on the vast majority of that list to make a purchase. They've been following her for years. They've already made purchases. They trust that, she walks on water, to many of them. So she can count on her list to being responsive. So if you see people unsubscribe, don't take it personally. It happens all the time. It just means that they are not your right person for right now. And having the more responsive list is definitely more important than having the humongous number, even though it's a nice ego boost. So I'm open to questions if anybody has them. I know y'all are kind of already experienced with email marketing, so I didn't know how detailed.
The thing that I find that's difficult with email marketing is the content, getting your content together as to what you're going to do. And I'm not a writer. It's just, it doesn't, I've tried, AI, artificial intelligence programs, which they, do write. It does come out good, but you just still have to finesse it. So for me is I hired the copywriter.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find is that you're right. You need to plan out what you're going to talk about, what you might offer in there as far as specials. Those are going to change. You know what I mean? Because of maybe something came up that's current, that's, oh, I've got to get this out there.
Right.
But I agree with you. I send out copy every week. I try to anyway. At first, I was told that you should do that. And then I thought, oh my gosh, that's like so much. But Christina's right. When you have your Facebook and Instagram, you'll lose those people. Whereas with your email account, you're basically narrowing down who your client is. And so, like lately, for instance, my coach told me I should just talk about luxury travel and do that for 2 months. Okay. And you'll start seeing those people that are actually not your client. And that's okay, because you're talking to a wall, because they're not responding anyway. And they're just sucking up your list and actually making your results worse by them not opening or whatever. So I use a company called Flowdesk. I think I'm going to switch back to Constant Contact, but I like Flowdesk because they have preset layouts that you can use, and you don't have to think about it. You can just plop in your photos, plop in your text. Very streamlined. They come up really nice on people's cell phones and stuff. But the thing that really I don't understand is sequencing. And I've done it before. Like if I was doing an event and I wanted people to register for that event. So if they register, then they go here so that they're going to get a follow-up reminder. And I'm trying to figure out how to do evergreen so that people that join on that are new actually start from the beginning and then start getting stuff. But a lot of times I have promotions in there that are just current. So for me, that's the hard thing, is figuring that out, is how to do all that, so I'm still working on it. But Christina, I'm sorry. I'm stopping. I'm trying to get
the sequencing can be tough. That muddles my brain as well. I feel like I need a big, wall size whiteboard to figure out sequencing. But that's why, I'm a recovering overthinker. So with sequencing, I would suggest just start real small. If you okay, I'm getting them on my list, where do they go next? Make that sequence first. Contrary to popular belief, yes, I do believe in funnels and sequences and all of that, but my brain just doesn't work with envisioning the whole funnel and then putting it together. I almost have to start at the beginning and just see where it leads me.
Because what they also say too is that if you've created enough emails that they're evergreen, you can actually, okay, so we went through this whole year with 52 emails. Now we're going to start again with the same 52 emails, because honestly, are you going to remember what you read a year ago? You know what I mean? Basically, a lot of times that's just kind of, if they do, it's more of a refresher. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to worry about constantly writing new material. That's the point that I guess I'm getting at is I don't want to have to constantly write new material. Yes, of course, I'm going to touch on maybe, newer things or products or whatever that are going on that I might put in. But it's just the writing. They're just writing content, and what do you talk about? You know what I mean? That's the thing. But I do realize, and what Christina was saying about a lead magnet is very important as well. But I do realize that if you're not in front of your client every week, you're forgotten. Facebook and Instagram, like Christina said, are not enough because they keep changing. And you could lose all those people that follow you in like a split second. Whereas with email, you have control over that. You have control over your list, who you're going to send, who you're going to meet, whatever. It's just, like she said, having that lead magnet to attract people to sign up to your website. I had one I wasn't crazy about. I've got to do that again.
Right. And one more important thing for anybody who's watching the replay too is when you're meeting people in person, it's a huge no-no to take that business card and add them to your main list. You can certainly go into your personal business email and send them, hey, it was great meeting you, but then ask, may I add you to my update newsletter or whatever it is, call it.
I do that too. I ask their permission.
Yes, because that's the huge thing. I think it's called the CAN Spam Act. There's huge lists of things you're not supposed to do with your email list. And honestly, I think a lot of people are ignoring it because I get emails all the time. I'm like, who is this person? Not even the website or the domain name sounds familiar to me. And I'm like, I am absolutely certain I did not sign up for your list. So then I mark it as spam. I have no guilt, because if I can't remember your name and your website isn't drawing, and I don't have the best memory, but some stuff I do, I'm pretty good with. That's a huge no-no. And then if you get marked spam enough times, that flags your account with your email provider.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if they actually would freeze your account or cancel you. I imagine if you break enough of those rules that you probably could, so then, yeah, that's just not worth it. And to me, that's just unethical. So, always ask permission before you add somebody.
Mhm.
And again, that doesn't mean you can't send a personal email. You just don't want to add them to your master list.
Right. When networking was, we were doing networking and going out and things like that, I would, if I met certain people and they gave me their card, I'd always ask them, can I email you? And then if they said yes, then I would send them a note the next morning that said, it was great to meet you. Let's grab coffee. And do I have your permission to put you on my email list? And
Yeah.
they would respond and they would tell me, please don't, or please do. And then right away, you're not wasting your time in contacting them. But I think asking permission is just respectful of the fact that you don't want to intrude on their privacy. And I think when you ask permission, most people are going to say yes to you because you gave them that respect in asking, their permission. And I do the same thing even on Facebook and Instagram. When I see people that are looking for my services, I'll put in there, I don't want to intrude on your privacy. Here's my information. If you want to have a conversation, reach out to me. But I don't feel comfortable. I see people bombard them. Oh, like I'm DMing you. I'm like, no. Do I have your permission to DM you? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to do that either. There's certain ways of connecting people where you're going to get a better response. You know what I mean? And asking people's permission is just respectful, in my opinion. So I agree with what Christina said, totally.
Yeah.
And one more thought, Brenda, I love that you're thinking about repurposing your email content, because I'm a huge fan of repurposing. And, my suggestion for that is if you're going to use the same emails, just double check that whatever links are included are not broken or outdated. Or if there's a new something that you want to promote for that,
Right.
You can add that in. But, like the beauty for you too is, well, for anybody, emails do not have to be exceptionally long. If you're a writer like me, mine tend to go on and on. But if you're not, like Brenda, I'm thinking, you would sway me over if you just put, in like a sunrise picture on the beach and sent it to me in February. I'd be like, oh, I want to go. And maybe just a couple of tips about the location, or, oh, did you know Jamaica has a high of whatever degrees, in February. It could be as simple as that. It doesn't always have to be, a full page length.
Normally I try to contain the writing to no more than 4 to 5 paragraphs. Okay. Or very, very short, if it's longer than that, very short sentences. What I've learned, and then I'll highlight a property. Of course, I always highlight a property and bullet list the features and amenities, because people aren't going to sit there and read all this stuff.
Right.
So I just go boom, 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 boom. And then, I'll say in my last email, I just said, if you're looking for a party resort, note, if you're looking for a party resort, this is not for you. You know what I mean? This is relaxation, massages, and cocktails. This is not, but anyway. And you know what I mean? And I just, and I've been getting responses that way when I realized that shorter is better, and pictures. Because a lot of times, let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
I've been involved in other email classes too, and they say sometimes just don't add so much pictures. But for my business, that's what my business is all about, is beautiful beaches and pools and massages and food. And, so I tend to have at least 4 to 5 photos, if not videos, in my emails. so people can go to a property. So what is your feel on that, as well as, visuals inside an email?
I think for your business in particular, it's vital. It doesn't make sense to me to, if you're talking about travel in this amazing resort, even if you give the link, that's more work for me as the reader to click the link and to browse around. As silly as that sounds, you want to make it as easy as possible for your readers to get in contact with you, but to also see the visuals. They may just be looking at your email and be like, I want to go there, and then they're calling you or
Right.
emailing you back.
Yeah, I try
I
not
think
to
it depends. I think it depends on the business. It might get a little messy if you try to include too many, but I think for you, it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to do is kind of narrow down, instead of like a lot of times I'll put in 2 properties, and sometimes then it gets too long. So I think because I'm doing it weekly, I'm just focusing on one property at a time and just showing what that property has to offer, and it's either going to be for you or not for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then I always ask the question, are you ready? Let's chat. Here's my links. Here's an appointment. Email me. And in the beginning of the email I did today, because, people, we all think differently. You know what I mean? Depending on what your service is, people always perceive your business to be either A or B or C.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times you want to ask those questions, and like, if you want to chat, am I presenting what, you want? Because if not, email me, tell me what you want. You know what I mean? And I think that, but like I said, when you go back to email marketing, the thing about the email marketing is that number one, you have control over your audience. You're dictating what you're sending to them. You're dictating how they contact you. You have control, whereas you really don't have that kind of control on Facebook and social media, because they can shut you down anytime they want. Or you can, like Christina said, you're not seeing clients or people that you normally see. You're not, for some reason, not seeing them because they're changing the algorithm so much. So I think it's really important to have any platform that you're going to use to just start. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just start. Mm-hmm. And if you're not comfortable with writing, which I'm not, obviously Christina says she loves to, maybe she could just write for you, hire her or hire a copywriter. Hire a copywriter, and then let that copywriter, like I hired a copywriter, and she knows my personality. So she writes to my personality. She doesn't just write, she writes to my personality. And that's the thing too, is that when you're getting your message across, you want people, they know you already. These people you're emailing, they already know you. So, I think sometimes you have to look at what's the overall expense, and is it worth it?
And I definitely want to interject a little bit here with saying that, personally, I've found that the emails that I enjoy reading the most, that like, I know they're bulk emails, but when it makes it feel like, when I don't know if you guys still get it at all, but those Christmas cards that have like a little piece of paper stuck in there with somebody who's just kind of like, this is what's been going on, like kind of a little catch-up note in there. But like, having your email feel more like somebody going, like with Brenda, I just went on the most amazing vacation, and this is what it was like, and this is how the amenities they have here, and then pictures, because you go to so many places, that could be kind of peppered in. And I'd be like, I know I love reading those kind of emails, that because I also have a client who's has a farm, And he writes like that, like, hey, this is what's new going on the farm right now. And it's so, it may be so like simple and silly, but it's just when nowadays, especially, we're so disconnected, getting an email like that where you're feeling like that person's writing to you, telling you about what's going on with them, it can really kind of pull you in and make you really want to engage more. So like he'd write all about what's going on the farm. It would only probably be a couple of paragraphs because he wrote like a week ago. But then at the bottom, it's, hey, try this product that we have for sale. And here's a $5 off on your shipping. Come and enjoy. And I immediately can see on the email, like when he sends me the email, and then I can go into his QuickBooks and see the sales just go whoop, in correspondence with those little sales that are on the bottom of the email. So it kind of pulls people in. And another thing I also wanted to point out too, like having something like a landing page, that I have landing pages. And so there's multiple landing pages that I have at my disposal. One is a budget. Like if you put your contact information and let me email you, you'll get a free budget. Or how many works pamphlet. How many works for kids pamphlet. I have all different kind of landing pages that I could actually, copy the link and specifically for that person. Oh, this person has mentioned budgeting to me. Let me send them to this landing page. They'll get a free budget. Then they'll also get on my mailing list. It kind of having stuff like that. I don't know how many programs have that kind of, but there's so much out there nowadays. There's got to be industry specific like CRMs and stuff that have something like that built in that can give something to potential clients to, get them then on your mailing list.
Right. Well, because one of the, traditional ways of, putting your opt-in was always on your homepage of your website, and it should still certainly be there because some people will still find you. However, you run the risk of having so much information on your homepage that people can miss it, so it makes absolute sense that you have a separate landing page dedicated for your opt-in so that, in your marketing, you can direct people directly to that page so they're not on, homepage overwhelm and missing it. And, one other thing, Brenda, you said you focused on, one resort at a time. I think that's great because, again, if you give too many people too many options in one email, they're going to get confused and chances are they won't click on anything. I think with the one exception, though, if you did something like a roundup email, the top 10 most romantic resorts for Valentine's Day or something, then I think, if you just did the name and where it was located, whatever, then I think that's
right.
Fine, and that would still be useful. But in general, if you can have one main focus, that's
that's what I was thinking about moving forward. Like, now that summer's going to be coming with spring break or whatever. Not spring break, you can't book right now, but summer, people, families are going to start. Now is the time for families to start thinking about where they want to go. So I was thinking about doing that. The top 5 resorts in Mexico for families, and then Jamaica. Perfect. Or you know what I mean? And then, list them. But I don't, I was linking, some of them I was linking, but I don't want to link them to the sites because I don't want them to go look at those sites. Like if I do a sandals property, I'll send them to Sandals, but it's my website, and it says on this, you know what I mean? Because
Okay,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
partnered website, so it'll always have my name, even though it's
Mhm.
Sandals, it'll always have my name. So even if they did book through there, they're booking on my website. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But to
Yeah.
send them to actual properties, I don't like to actually do that. So I might put in a video of a property, you know, or a series of properties, a quick
Yep.
30-second video. But you know, it's all in what we have to try to do. You know, what we do, and it's email marketing does take time. It's
Mhm.
not something that is going to happen overnight. But if you're consistent, which, you know, consistency is always interesting, you know, you try to be consistent. It's a way to also define who your market is too. You know, so like if you really want to target, if you really want to narrow down what your niche is or what you're after, you know, like what you're looking for. In Meg, in your case, you could be looking for people who are interested in either life insurance or wealth or, you know, things like that. You would do a series of that. And the people who aren't interested, they're going to fall off and you're going to lose people, but that's always the case. When you lose them, they weren't your customer. They weren't your client anyway. So, you know, those are things we just have to learn about. But, you know, you have to just, and like you say, you have to plan it out. Somebody told me you should plan out 52 weeks. I can't plan out 52. You know, some people
That's
do that,
hard.
but that's
That's hard.
hard. That's hard. In my industry, with the way we've been going, I can't talk 52 weeks out because it would just, it's crazy. I mean, even just with what's going on now, you know, everybody's talking about being afraid to travel. I got 12 emails this morning on all these places that have changed requirements. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So you can't, so how do you plan 52 weeks out when things are changing rapidly? But you know your industry, you know what's consistent in your industry, and then you can focus on that for what it is you're trying to get out there. But it does take time, and you have to be consistent. And I think if you're not a good writer, you should hire a copywriter, somebody that you can work with, and interview a few people, you know, and see who will work best with you. And then plan out a plan what you're going to talk about. I think that that's always key too, because I think that keeps us on focus. When you have a plan of what you're doing, it also focuses you better on what aspect of your business you know, you're trying to promote, or what client you're trying to go after. So, hey, Joanne.
And one last quick tip. When you're writing, pretend that you're writing to your best friend. Emails are meant to be casual. They're not meant to sound like a formal PhD dissertation. You know, write like you're talking to your best friend. It does not have to be long, and storytelling gets phenomenal results.
Okay. The other thing too, can you touch on? I've been using a headline source because they say that when you're delivering emails, your headline is what's going to get people to open that email.
Right. Headlines can be tricky because you don't want to be ever accused of, like, what is it, clickbait, or you know, promising one thing and then not delivering once people are in. So I find that asking a question can be useful. You know, if you're giving something away, you know, you can make it slightly vague, but let them know, oh, hey, your freebie's inside, or here's a special gift for you. I mean, I don't know. These are, you want to get more creative, because creative will get you the opens. But you know, it's sometimes tricky. The best email I had open, or I had one email a couple years back. I think the subject line was, "This is the only time I'm going to condone you stealing something." And it was, I think, a done for you template or a set of templates or something that, you know, PLR, that is meant to be edited and stuff, so you're not really stealing, but that got a lot of people's attention apparently. So you can be clever, add a little bit of humor to it if it's, something humorous. Back in January, I started the year off writing about, my 7-year-old and her determination and stuff. So that got a lot of clicks. Whenever you talk about family, it gets clicks, opens. So, but that was also that was a lot of storytelling inside the main email part too. So, I think subject lines, you need to just play around with it. I know there are stats and stuff out there. I don't know what they are in terms of, I know there's a whole list of certain power words to use, you can kind of go crazy, but I would say just try to be a little creative, be maybe a little bit vague so that they're curious about what's inside.
I think too often we end up overthinking what we're going to say. I know that's where I get guilty of, like, thinking about even starting an email list specifically for my bookkeeping. And I start overthinking, like, well, I can't do this. And like, I don't want to give all my secrets away and blah, but you kind of just have to go, okay, just you're writing to somebody that, like you said, just you're writing to your best friend. Just, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I can do to help you out.
Right.
This is something that I haven't to offer, but in a I'm talking to a friend kind of way. I feel like those emails really kind of get the most attention from people. It makes them want to even share your emails with other people who might go and add themselves to your list, like, oh, I need to get in this list too because it's so good. So that's the kind of thing, but just don't overthink it too much. Like, you could sit there and critique your writing until you're blue in the face, and that's where, like you said, it's hiring somebody to kind of help you out with that stuff, even just to start out, and then see how they do it. And then if you feel like, okay, that's not as intimidating as I thought it was going to be, or getting to know the copywriter and then being able to really tweak it to be like, this really sounds like it's coming from me, that can be really good, because in the long run, right, you have to look at it is my email bringing in the clientele and the business to afford me to have somebody like, and then it's, can I afford not to have this? Most people would say no. Like, I can't afford not to have an email list. I can't afford not to be in contact with potential clients. And I also want to add too, that a wonderful little thing is that a lot of these email, like, propagating softwares actually link with QuickBooks. As the bookkeeper here, I can share that. So, like, I know with MailChimp and with Constant Contact, those are the big ones, but like that can help with like lead generation and stuff like that too. So there's so many different aspects to it that kind of all fit together. And that's one also that a lot of people don't realize, like, oh, I can connect my client list on QuickBooks to my email list so that they can get my email too. That's awesome. So just a thought. So I think let's just kind of, if we have more to talk about this subject, maybe we can circle back to it after.
Yep.
But I wanted to make sure that Richard had some time to kind of give us a little overview of BNI and what it's all about. I know a lot of us have had questions and gotten little bits and pieces, but this is a really good opportunity for Richard to kind of step in and really give us the full rundown of what's BNI and
Okay. Well, what is BNI? Well, and this actually, I think a few people have been in or are still in BNI, or at least know about BNI. I think most of us actually in this group do, but some of us don't, so that's fine. That's more for them. So what is BNI? Well, BNI is a Business Network International. And so that's pretty much what it is. It's a group of businesses that share their network with each other to help grow other businesses in their region, in BNI in general. Now, there are a couple rules with BNI. I kind of give Megan a lot in my examples, so I'm not really targeting her, but it's just easier with her with what she does. So let's say she wanted to come into my chapter. Well, there's a couple rules. One, you only have one classification per chapter. So since I have a financial advisor, she couldn't do that, but she could be a bookkeeper. Okay, now she couldn't talk about doing financial advising in the chapter, but outside the chapter, she's able to talk about everything she does in her business, the bookkeeping, the financial advising, the necklaces, all of it outside. What we have, it's called one-to-ones, where we meet other people inside BNI and have like an hour meeting to get to know each other. I'm sorry, my phone just went off. I don't know if you heard that or not. So that's some of the rules. And there's also a attendance rule that you really have to show up. They really want you to show up, because that's where we're going to learn about you. You're going to learn about us. And if you're not there, you're just not going to learn anything, and neither are we. And pretty much the attendance rule is on a rolling 6 months. You're only allowed to be absent 3 times. Now, you can get a sub, and a sub will now count as only half an absence. So in that rolling 6 months, you could get 6 subs. Also in a rolling 6 months, if you happen to have an absence, you could take a class and have one removed. And everything is based on that rolling 6 months. So what do we kind of deal with, and what do we get in with BNI? Well, every region is different. I know you asked about prices last time and wanted me to mention that. I do want to mention again, every region is different. So in my region, for a membership, it is a 1-year membership for $554. And when you first join, there's a $150 registration fee. If you want to do it for 2 years, it's $895. Okay. Now that registration, I wish this would stop right now. The timing is the worst. Come on, stop. Thank you. I lost my train of thought after all that. Now that registration fee is, for the most part, yeah, thank you. I saw that. It's not really a one-time fee, but mostly it is. And I know that kind of sounded kind of like I contradicted myself. And the reason I say it that way is when you first register, you paid that fee. As long as you stay within BNI and in the same chapter, you never pay it again. However, some people do leave BNI for a while and come back, and I believe you have to pay that registration fee again. I also think, and I'm not 100% sure about this, and this also might be region to region as well anyway, if you change chapters, I don't know if you have to pay it again or not. That's something, if you really want to know, we could put you in the people who will answer that question better. But some of the things with BNI you get as well is they have a lot of what they call continuing education, where they have events that they do. They have a national speed networking every Tuesday. They have what's called deep dive, that really teach you how to use BNI. If you're in the health and wellness region, there's a networking group for that. And they teach you how to do these one-to-ones, like where I talked about, you do a one-to-one with different businesses and kind of get to know each other. There's training on how to do that. Now, when you're in your chapter, every week you get to do what's called a weekly presentation, where you talk about what the category you're in, your business. Okay. And you also want to give them what a good referral is, or a good referral source. So people kind of sit there and what they should do is listen actively, because you kind of sit there and go, oh, I want to meet Bob from Vassar. He's a director. But then they kind of start going, okay, so he wants somebody who is a director, somebody who's in medical, somebody. So I may not know Bob, but I may know somebody in Vassar, or I may know somebody in the medical field that could be a good referral. So you should be a little bit more active when you listen and pass that along as well. Okay, so and it's all word of mouth marketing, and so people kind of say, okay, you make them listen, or not that you don't make them listen, you kind of educate them on what to hear. So all of a sudden they'll be sitting there and say you're a chiropractor. You tell people, oh, people start complaining about their backs, or they start, doing stuff like this. And you could be sitting out someplace and you could see someone rubbing their neck going like that. And you could be like, yeah, I have a neck problem too. I have this great chiropractor I use. I'd love to introduce you to him. Bang. But you got to kind of show them and teach them what to look for. So when they see that stuff, they go, oh, wow, that could work, especially if they're not in what's called a power team. We have power teams in our chapters where they are in the same kind of industry as you, just don't do what you do, but it's a more natural conversation. So again, let's take Megan for example here. She's B2B like I am. So for her to sit there and watch somebody and go, oh yeah, here's your expensive, wow, you don't have a website? It's a natural conversation for her. It's not so much out of the blue because it's part of business. It's part of what they need to do. Where if Joanne's sitting there selling jewelry and says it's kind of like, why? Why are you talking about my website? It doesn't matter. I want to buy jewelry from you. I'm not doing anything more. But she could still hear things that might trigger something that could make it a bit more of a natural conversation. So you really want to educate those a lot as well too. And like I said, the big thing is being consistent. You also have a 10-minute feature presentation, and there are classes on how to prepare for that as well, where you have your weekly presentation, which is about a minute. You also have something for 10 minutes that you talk about your business and what works for you, what doesn't. Even good ideas to tell them what does not work for you. Who's not a good client. If you ever do something like this, refer to somebody else, it's not working for me. Because some businesses have that kind of stuff that it just doesn't work. So like I said, they also have other classes. I talked about the classes before that aren't necessarily internal that anybody could go to. In fact, I'm going to put a link in here for everybody local. An Eventbrite. This is actually a event that's going to happen on Wednesday at Perkins and Wappingers. So of course, if you're in Florida, it's an awful long way to go. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. Most of our stuff is virtual right now. I don't know of any chapters off the top of my head that are not, but there might be. So what else can I tell you about BNI? The networking. I'm going through my slides and my thought process. Right off the top, I told you the price. I told you about the education, the one-to-ones. But I think we are pretty much there. Any questions? Let's go with this. Any questions? I can't think of anything else I want to say right now. I'm sure something will pop in my head though.
Anybody?
It'll pop in your head after we all sign off.
Yeah.
Oh, that too. That happens too. Yeah, isn't that the way it always goes?
Well, that's why we have the chat, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Very thorough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's harder for smaller business people because it's not cheap, that kind of thing. But I like the fact that because you pay the money, you want to make sure you're there.
Yes.
That kind of drives you to
do.
make sure, well, I paid it, I'm going to show up, kind of thing.
And well, you gotta remember, okay, cheap becomes a relative term because this is marketing, which means it's really an investment.
Yeah.
So is it cheap? I don't know. It depends on how much you get out of it. If you get 3 times more than you put in, it's not cheap at all.
Oh, absolutely. But
So,
initially coming up with it, it's, I know what you're saying,
right.
but I'm more a realist than anything else.
Yeah.
I know. But no, that was very thorough. And
But-
I've always wanted to know about BNI.
Yeah, but it is true. Depending on your business, you'll likely get more referrals than others. Like with what I do, because I'm a big ticket, I won't get as many as some people, but I don't need as many. I get 1 or 2 and it's paid for. I actually get 1 and it's paid for itself. Where if you're like a florist, well, yeah, you probably need about 20 a year, But guess what? It's easy to give a florist 20 a year with the number of people he'll meet. How many times does someone sit and go, God, I'm in a doghouse today. Hey, I got a florist I can refer to, and I'll refer myself to that florist. Yeah, it does depend. There's a lot of factors. It is marketing, but you got to figure out how much you're going to get out of it and what you put into it. But you're right. You do need that initial investment.
Yeah. That's always kind of been the hard part for me. It's like, oh, I got to put that initial investment up, but like, it's like cart before the horse, or the chicken and the egg. It probably is more like,
Mm,
so
I get it.
it's
Well,
something
You're
that people have to
overthinking
think
it, Megan.
about.
Yeah. Look, for me, it's paid it for every year I've been in.
Yeah.
Right.
It has. But I don't need a lot of referrals to get that to work.
Yeah.
Guys, I just want to, I want to apologize. I completely forgot it was Friday.
It's okay.
Isn't that what
Megan
you
had
said
you
at the beginning,
pegged.
Megan?
I completely forgot it was
I
Friday.
called it. I called
She
it.
did. She called that out.
My husband's on a 3-day work week where he works 3 12s and then he's home for 4 days. And it's got me my week completely messed up because I'm thinking yesterday was Saturday and it's like, wait, no, it's not. He wasn't even home on Saturday. What's going on? Kind of thing. So I'm so sorry. Gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. So sorry.
Don't apologize. What are we always telling people? Come and go as you need to, because
That's not the point for you and I.
it's all good. That's why we have 2 of us, right?
Jeez.
That's what it was my week anyway, so it's okay. We're good.
Goodness.
But I kind of joke around sometimes that like the only reason why I know what day it is because of my pill organizer.
What organizer?
My pill organizer, my vitamins and medication. Like I fill it every Sunday, but then I swear the only reason why I know what day it is when I get up in the morning and I come down, start my cup of tea, I go over to my pill organizer and I'm like, okay, it's Thursday. Doo-doo-doo. Now, if I miss a day for some reason, then I get all messed up.
Exactly. That's what I would do. I'd miss a day here, miss a day there. Go, what day is this?
Yeah. No, I think that's an ongoing thing, especially now with us all working from home. So it's like, what's the difference between one day from the other? So
Yeah. It gets that way. I'm so sorry.
don't apologize. If anybody else has any questions about BNI, if we're good, we'll kind of round up a little bit. Okay, so I want to open the floor up to like, does anybody have, now's probably a really good time, Brenda, to again reiterate the girls' night out. And if anybody has like some special promos going on, any offers, anything that's going on with their business. Well, Joe, the last 3 days you've been doing lives selling your jewelry off.
I had to. I'm actually selling it at a loss just because I need to move it.
Gotta get the money coming, right?
So I figured sell it or loss, get something in where it's just sitting there and get nothing in, you know? So I've had 3, and each live has gone like 2.5 hours. It's
That's
been
good.
just. And to
Having
the point,
fun.
what's that?
Having fun.
Yeah, you know, people are liking it and stuff, and I
Yeah.
don't know,
Are you
somehow,
going to stick with selling jewelry, or are you phasing out of it?
you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, multiple streams of income, 7 streams of income. So I'm still have the credit repair going, working on a couple. I've still got that going, still doing the business funding. And then, you know what? I really enjoy selling. I can't, it's in my blood. It's a family thing. So I've been looking for suppliers and stuff now, but I want to kind of sell more than just jewelry. I'd like to sell other little things, maybe like purses and scarves and sunglasses, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just looking into some suppliers just to get a few things in and see how it flies, you know, see how people receive it.
Joe,
I did put on my, what's that?
I was gonna say, Joe and I have both been like kind of looking around and then saying, hey, check this place, like check out this place. And because we always, one thing you always have to look at when you're dealing with this, so like with paparazzi, we weren't able to have other stuff that we could sell. We could only sell paparazzi during a live. But
Let me, I'm just, you continue your story, but I want to interject what you just said. Because I've been selling my paparazzi at $2.50 instead of $5. I've been selling it half price. I pay $2.75. Oh, we lost Brenda. All right.
yeah.
Um,
She had just gotten power when she came back.
oh,
She came
really? Does it have power? Oh my God.
Oh, lady, it's some storm up here. It's like snow, ice, snow,
Ice storm,
ice, snow,
yeah.
ice.
I have a blue sky with fluffy white clouds.
Shut up.
That's it, rub it in.
We hate you.
Shut up, lady.
Kidding.
Don't rub it in.
We'll remind you that next hurricane.
Yes.
There you go.
There you
You know what?
go.
I'm the truck that's sitting out on my terrace going, look at this storm. This is awesome. That's what I do. So anyway, I'm doing my live, and I have a customer who I've always had. Her name, we'll call her Janelle because that is her name. And and I didn't know, but you know, I gave up paparazzi and that, but she joined paparazzi unbeknownst to me. Somebody mentioned something while she was on, like a friend of hers and a friend. She brings a couple of people. Everybody brings a couple of people, kind of thing. And she kind of like skirted around it. But she just said, Joanne, if you were selling paparazzi, I would have signed up under you. And I'm like numb, going, okay, so she wanted, but she didn't. I just didn't get anything that was going. I'm just trying to sell my shit. Turns out the next day I get a message, no, a couple days later, I get a message from her. Can you please delete the last live you did? I'm like, why? What happened? Well, apparently somebody was on there and saw her on my live and reported her to compliance.
What?
Oh.
So they suspended her account.
See,
until-
that's why we left paparazzi.
What, she can't be on your live? That doesn't even make sense.
You know, buying stuff. Why can't she buy stuff? You know, well, she said, oh, I have to have a variety for my ladies. And I didn't even get that. Honestly, I didn't even get it. So she was buying from me to sell, like she kind of
Well, you were
alluded to
selling it at about what we were buying it for.
selling it for under, because I get it for $2.75 each. We get it for $2.75 each. And I'm selling it for $2.50.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I mean about it's your business, but it's not your business. Go ahead, Megan.
So that's kind of why we decided to, that's one of the many reasons why we decided to leave paparazzi. But then, so we went out and searched, and Joanne found like Studio 7 fashion, which there's no regulation of like, oh, you can only sell our stuff. You can't sell anything else. If they don't say that, it's not like that. And then anything else that we find, we're always looking for that fine print of like,
Yeah.
they're not going to have a bug out if we are selling other products with theirs. Because to me, I would love to be able to have like a little mannequin on the side and be like have really nice t-shirt and a set of jewelry that goes with it and a handbag that goes with it. And, you know,
Yes.
to be able to sell a whole outfit, a whole look, or, you know, something like that. And I also love the idea, and this is, Joe, this is something that I've been trying to get back into doing.
Uh-huh.
Is when I used to do Leah Sophia way back, like 15, 20 years ago,
Wow, it's a long
they,
time.
I used to sit there and have people that when I did a party, I would be like, do whatever you don't buy but you love, put it on a wish list. And I gave them like there was like a sheet of paper that I created that it was like so and so's wish list. And then I was like, tell you any friends or family, your spouse, your partner, whoever, you know, Christmas, birthday, whatever, go and talk to Megan. And then I had a little folder for them, and then I could pull my folder out and be like, so these are the pieces that they really want. And I could show them. And that's something that I love, the idea of being able to do, kind of a little more concierge boutique kind of feel. So that's, you know, something there to as an idea.
No, absolutely. And, you know, when it comes to paparazzi, you can't do that because they
Yeah.
make everybody fight for everything.
Yep.
Like you got to get in there and you got to get right away. And if you don't order it right away, then they make that sense of urgency. Now it's a good business move for them
Yeah.
because they're making money on the consultants. And of course they want the consultants to sell, but I'm telling you, people have been leaving paparazzi left and right because they found out that they had this super spreader event in, they're calling it that, in Vegas this past year.
Yeah,
And a number of
convention.
people died
Ooh.
from this event.
Yeah, they died of
When he
COVID.
mentioned it, the founders didn't say anything as far as, you know, we're sorry, not even to the family, nothing. They just discontinued their accounts. Done.
Oh, wow.
Which is a big thing because they market to bring consultants in as this is a legacy business. So when you sign up, you name a beneficiary as if it's like a life insurance policy, that person's gonna be
That
like
person,
inherit your business, and then they can pick up and it's their business then. So by them discontinuing, they took that revenue away from those families that just lost somebody. Which,
you know,
wow, to me, I was like, that's it, I'm out,
and
done.
then there's a ton of other stuff that's now coming out, like that movie that they put together for LuLaRoe. Okay, there's one being done for paparazzi.
Is it like a tell-all or?
Yeah. If you haven't seen the LuLaRoe movie,
No.
watch it. It's good. I think it's on, go to YouTube, maybe it's on that or Netflix or something. Check out the LuLaRoe movie. It's eye-opening as far as like what these companies do. So there's major lawsuits against them now. Major lawsuits are regarding their jewelry, that it's not lead and nickel free as they had.
Oh, really? Oh,
So-
man.
That's not cool either. That's like,
Yes.
that's putting our reputation at risk because we're sitting here saying it's lead and nickel free, and we're counting on our business or the paparazzi to be telling us,
Yes.
you know, this is what this is. That's just not.
Oh, wow.
See, that's why I feel like partnering with a smaller company, like that's why I kind of like the idea of like maybe there's a local screen printing company, and to get like some of my husband's artwork on some pieces and sell it that way. And
Yeah, and they give you get that flexibility to, you know, and quite honestly, if they give me a hard time, I'm going to leave because I'm not just going to sell their jewelry. I'm getting jewelry from different places.
yeah,
There are two ladies.
You're not
right?
the only game in town, Bubby.
There, another story, I got two elite leaders who have gotten together to put all this together. Sousa, what the fuck's her name?
Yes.
Right? I can't remember her name. I don't know. Everything escaped.
Geraldine.
But anyway, what happened is she was an elite leader. Now, guys, that means she had a team like up the kazoo, okay? And she was making over $1 million a year selling paparazzi, mainly because in the MLMs, your money is in your team.
Mhm.
Right.
Constantly, yeah, go buy, look what's going on, go buy. And then on her Facebook page, she started advertising some Girl Scout cookies from either, I don't know, a friend or a relative with Girl Scout cookies. Paparazzi got wind of it and they canceled her account. Didn't suspend her, canceled her. So her income of over $1 million is gone.
Oh my God.
Got that? Gone.
That's crazy.
So she was up in arms. So yeah. So she went on and got her own stuff. She's live almost every day selling. She sells blouses and shoes and bags and all kinds of stuff. And she's doing very well, thank God. And then Tracy was another elite leader making beaucoup money with paparazzi, thinking, oh, the world is my oyster, you know?
Mhm.
She actually defended somebody that was on one of the paparazzi trips. He was handicapped. And I don't know the complete story, but I know that she went to say something in his defense. They canceled her too.
That's crazy.
Just canceled her account. No reason, no rhyme, no reason. She couldn't come back and say, listen, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Nothing, not suspended, money gone. So she's also doing some other stuff. She's not doing as good as Sousa is, but
Just finding your right equilibrium, really, like finding what's going to work well for you.
it's just amazing of what these MLM companies can do, and paparazzi in particular. So there's a number of reasons why I left them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. It's like, it's almost predatory practices when you're getting people to join your team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want it to come back to bite me in the ass. That's why I went to my little team and I explained everything to them, why I was leaving. They didn't have to leave, right, Megan? I said,
Didn't have to.
this is what
But I'm
happened.
like, if Joe's leaving, I'm leaving. And she gave me really good
That's what you mean,
reasons.
because I don't want to be, maybe it'll work for you. Maybe you're one of the ones who will skirt under everything and you'll, grow a huge team, make beaucoup money. Don't do that. But I'm just telling you why I am leaving it. So I left it up to them, and I don't know what they did. I don't know.
I know
I think they'll
personally
cancel.
myself, I like it a lot better that I'm not restricted now. I feel like I dipped my toe in with paparazzi, but then now I'm like, wow, okay, so I can sell off the stock that I have of paparazzi, but then I can bring in all this other stuff that's really pretty. And, I'm not restricted to, I can only sell that. Like I have, this is a really cute piece that is
Oh,
the
that's cute. Oh my gosh.
Video 7. They're little angel wings
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
with a drop down. And then, all of us know anybody who likes to get their nails done. Sorry. Richard. Well, guys like manicures too, so, but
Yeah.
those of us that,
Next time I go for a pedicure, my husband says, I'm gonna go with you.
you know what? It's so relaxing. I will say that. But especially when, the lockdowns happen and everything, people who were so used to having their nails done were just like, oh my God, I can't go and get them done. And they're like, my nails. I kept hearing people complaining all the time about their nails. So, same with Studio 7. You can also get, it's like that color street where you
Color
can
Mhm.
get
Street,
your nails done. So like and then this is like a Christmassy. So that was like fall. And then this is more like a Christmassy one. But like, I'm
Right.
going to start having all of those things. And I love that I'm not restricted. Like, I'm very specifically looking for companies that don't have when you're selling our stuff, you can't sell anything else. Well, no, that's not going to work for me.
Mhm.
So, and then having the online boutique, it works out well. So I got to get that link tree going. I keep telling myself it's like, but I'll do it in my abundant spare time, as I worked until 10 o'clock last night. So, but this has been really great. I wanted to share as well. I kind of wish Brenda was still here. We'll have to kind of let everybody know in the chat too. I was hoping more people would be here today, that Joe and I have been discussing some changes to the meeting, where we're going to cut out helpful hints. It seems like a lot of people drop off at 11 to go to meetings. Maybe start, paring it down, where we'll do intros, one speaker, share any kind of promos and stuff, then kind of open it up. We'll see about breakout rooms, how that fits in. But then just kind of, have the free for all more kind of situation starting more at 11. And this way, like, if you guys want to stay at 11:30, like today,
Mhm.
cool. But if you have a meeting at 11, you're not really missing a lot. And then it's also kind of, I think it's been getting a little harder and harder for Joe and I to get speakers and helpful hints. So hopefully
You want to
this
talk about
will-
your company? Talk about your company. Talk
Yeah.
about what you do.
well,
Talk
and
about,
next
maybe
week.
there's something new you discovered and whatever. So yeah, absolutely.
So Mike actually reached out to me after our last meeting, because he did kind of talk a little bit about Affleck. So he actually reached out to me and asked that he could be the next speaker and just kind of talk about what he does, what he can offer. So that's next week. But after that, we don't really have any other speakers on the hook. So if any of
We'll
you
put it in
guys
the
want
chat
to,
if anybody wants to come in and talk
yeah,
about.
that's what I'm gonna do. I figure I'm gonna do a little bit of a roundup, in the chat, but then also on our PNN group of like, this is the change that we're making, and then a call to action of, hey, do you want to speak? Try and breathe some new life back into the networking, maybe try and get some people to start coming back, start bringing new people in.
Life
So-
into our boring meetings.
well, no, that's the whole thing, is like breathe new life. Maybe it was a little too long and a little too late, but maybe 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is a lot easier, just 1 hour. And then,
Yeah.
leave it a little open-ended that if you want to stay, you can. So,
Right. I think that's
I
good.
think if you keep the 1 hour like really laser focused,
yeah.
like really start at 10 o'clock. I mean, I do enjoy coming here. I am
Thank you.
doing better with my time management so that I don't have deadlines on Fridays. But maybe if you just start right smack by 10:05, whoever's here is here,
Yeah.
and get right started.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe that'll kind of incentivize. I know there's a lot of people that sometimes will come in at like 10:10. if we start a
10
little
o'clock sharp.
more, well, like 10:05, like she said, that's a good idea. It gives people that 5-minute window where we can say hi to each other, little quick, little schmoozy. Then at 10:05 on the dot, off we go. Hopefully people will come in, and then, if people come in late, we're still doing the intros for the first beginning part. So
Yeah.
they'll just,
People come in late like me.
Yeah.
You know,
but I think stopping the meeting and having that person give an intro. No, I kind of feel like, nah, they don't need to get their intro, because if you were here at the beginning of the meeting, then you give an intro. If you come in
Or
later,
save that for after the speaker and like near the very
Yeah.
end,
yeah,
but
And
no, I wouldn't disrupt the feel of the meeting just because somebody's late. Just to keep moving on.
yep. So more incentive to be here on time than to come in late. We all have our reasons. There's things happen in life, but we kind of have to, I think, having a little bit more of a structure to it. And I mean, we've been doing good with structure, but maybe kind of paring it back a little bit. I think our eyes were bigger than our stomach when we started. Let's have me a speaker and helpful and
Well, and they're all good things, but it's hard to commit to an hour and a half.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think an hour-long meeting is, for me at least, easier to say, yes, I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about earlier, but me, I'm barely half awake when I first start the meeting. And to start off with, I don't think doing any earlier would be it would be scattered Megan. And I don't think you guys want to see scattered Megan.
Well, and honestly, Richard, that's been my biggest thing with not joining BNI is, I'm the one that gets the kid out of the house in the morning. So with all the ones that start at 7, I'm like,
Mine start at 11:30.
Oh, does it really?
Mine starts at 11:30. I'm an afternoon one.
burn.
Okay.
It's
No,
like
That's new.
No, that wasn't meant to be a burn. It was just you're right. You're right. Most of them start at 7.
Yeah.
Ours doesn't.
The ones my husband hasn't been involved with, let me qualify.
They started at
that,
7.
has
Yes.
started at 7. Yes.
And that most of them do.
Yeah.
But we just
I think you're like the only one in
in Dutchess County.
Dutchess,
Don't know
yeah.
if the other side, Orange used to. I don't know if they still do it in the afternoon. I'd have to look that up. We might be the only one in this region. I don't know.
Things have changed so much
But
since beginning
we're the only
of
one that
COVID.
counts. No, I'm kidding. But we do start at 11:30.
Yeah.
The only one that counts is Richards. That's it.
That's it. The heck with the rest of them.
That's right.
I'm just gonna quickly do a wrap up for the recording though. And then if you guys want to chat still, we still can. But so I just want to say thank you to anybody who's watching the replay, and please come and join us. We're going to be changing it up a little bit, give you a little refresh of the format here. But I hope you guys come and join us in person. It's a whole different experience than watching on the recording. So hope to see you in the future with Fridays at 10 Eastern Standard Time to 11 Eastern Standard Time. But you can stay a little longer with our little free for all where we're not recorded and able to talk a little more free. So hope to see you soon. Thank you guys.